We've got an update on Shedeur Sanders, his future in Cleveland. The Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski just told us something that you need to know. If you're wondering when we're finally going to see 12, well, this might help you figure that out. Welcome into the Browns Report, everybody. I am your host, Joey O'Donohue, and this is why you subscribe to the channel, because when there is news, when there are updates on the Browns quarterbacks, when Shedeur will play, how Gabriel's doing, literally everything Cleveland Browns, I'm here for you all year round, every single day. So hit that red subscribe button if you want to be in the know, if you want to know when 12 will play, and everything that happens with your football team. All right, so here's what Kevin Stefanski told us about Shedeur. When asked if Shedeur was getting reps with the first teamers, he said no. With a young quarterback, with Dillon starting, you want to make sure he gets a lot of the reps. But Shedeur still getting reps in a bunch of different periods. And unfortunately, I think that's a shame. So now, even though Sanders has moved up to 2 on the depth chart, he is not being given reps with the ones. He doesn't get the practice with the starters, even though he may need to be thrown into a game situation if something were to happen to Gabriel. Or, as we know, we expect to see him later in the season no matter what. But my question to Kevin Stefanski is, so what's your plan? And when will it happen for Shedeur Sanders? When will he get reps with the ones in practice, right? Because, Gabriel, when he was the backup, he got reps with the ones when Flacco was starting. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit. But unfortunately, this could mean that we're weeks away from seeing Shedeur Sanders play, because now, if he were telling me he'd be the starter in a week or two and had no practice whatsoever, ever, with the Browns starters, that either seems like it's a setup for him to fail, or that he's not going to be the starting quarterback anytime soon. And I don't know how you couldn't go and reevaluate this, because what we've seen from Gabriel has really not been impressive through 3 starts. He's got 98 total pass attempts, right? Well, 66 of those are from 9 yards or less. If it feels like Gabriel's throwing a lot of short passes, it's because he is. It's not just the eye test. It's not just the narrative. The stats back it up as well. The box score shows it. He's 11 of 28 on intermediate range passes, anywhere from 10 to 19 yards. It's not a great completion percentage. And 1 of 4 on passes over 20 yards. It really is dink and dunk. It really is check down football. 67% of the time, Gabriel throws passes under 9 yards. This was my scouting report on him the entire season. I said, I expect this is what we'll see. This game manager, safe football. He hasn't turned it over, to his credit. But you cannot argue with the numbers that it has been short and slow. And when the Browns put up 31 last week, Gabriel wasn't on the field for 3 of the touchdowns. Browns insider Daniel Yafusi of ESPN gives us some more insight when Stefanski was asked if it's possible for a young QB to be too cautious. Well, Dillon hasn't thrown an interception in 3 starts, but there's been 2 dropped interceptions per ESPN research. And he ranks last in yards per attempt at 5.1. Yards per dropback, 4.22. And air yards per attempt, 5.6. Those are the averages, folks. Stefanski said, we've talked about it over the years. You want to be smart and aggressive. You don't want to just be conservative for the sake of being conservative. So it's a balance there. And we coach our quarterbacks to be aggressive when the time calls for it. Let it rip. And then also understanding that taking care of the football is a big part of our job. So if you don't want to be conservative just for the sake of being conservative, but that's what it feels like. It feels like they're being safe and protective with Dillon Gabriel. By the way, Gabriel has a 59.8% completion percentage right now. That's 31st in the league. And 6 turnover-worthy plays according to PFF, which is 20th in the NFL. He's also top 10 in turnover-worthy play percentage. Folks, I can't sit up here and say it was a good idea. I'm tired of acting like it, because if you've been watching my show, my analysis has always been that Shedeur has the higher ceiling, that he should have been drafted ahead of Gabriel in the NFL draft. I never understood the Gabriel draft pick. And as a Browns fan, I've tried to be positive. I've tried to come on here for weeks and say, let's look at him, let's give him a shot. And every week, I'm seeing exactly what I said you're going to see, exactly what I thought we would see. Game managing football. So yeah, he does need a lot more reps. Because He's not NFL ready. He's not ready to be a starting quarterback of a team. And it may sound like I'm being harsh on him, but this is through 3 weeks what we've seen. And I get the Browns have a lot of issues, but it doesn't excuse the play from Dillon Gabriel, which he's not going to help you win football games. He's not going to take over the game. You need a good team around Dillon Gabriel for him to be successful. What we did against the Dolphins was dominant. 4 takeaways, right? We're not going to do that every game. We didn't do that against the Steelers, against the Ravens, against the Lions, and we got blown out in all 3 of those. So you tell me. Cleveland Browns insider Mary Kay says that Shedeur has been looking great in practice. Shedeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. And if you put Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel side by side in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think Shedeur would probably win that drill much of the time. Or if you put them up against each other in a pockets drill, I think Shedeur would win that a lot of the time. The reviews I'm hearing from inside the building are really, really good on Shedeur's progress right now. But I think they still want to give Dillon some time. Now, he's got to make some points out there. He's got to produce and generate some touchdown passes. Folks, Shedeur's balling in practice. He's showing those flashes. Yeah, Mary Kay is someone who attends the practices, is inside the facility, and talks to many sources in the building. And they're all saying glowing remarks about Shedeur right now. The hype could be real. The talent could be there, inevitable for the Cleveland Browns to see. And maybe I'm impatient, but I just don't have time to sit around and wait for Dillon Gabriel to develop because obviously they're both rookies, but this is Cleveland's evaluation. And remember, Gabriel was getting first-team reps when he was quarterback too. Shedeur's quarterback too now, and they're not giving him first-team reps. Now, Stefanski justified this by saying, Flacco was a vet. It's a little bit different. And that's fair. I understand that part of it. My issue is I disagree with the Cleveland Browns evaluation. And so I think we are wasting time, if I'm being completely honest with you. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for Gabriel to go out there and ball out. Through 3 starts, you cannot tell me that you have any inkling that that will be the case going forward. He hasn't thrown it deep. We don't connect on deep balls. Shedeur would do that. And if this does continue from Dillon Gabriel, week after week after week, well, then he absolutely has to be benched for Shedeur. There were sources saying that Sanders will start the last 4 games of the season, no matter what. Others said that he might be in play earlier than that. And I think it's something Cleveland needs to explore because, like I said, folks, if you've watched the games, if you've looked at the numbers, it's not there for right now for Dillon Gabriel. It wasn't for Flacco either. At least Gabriel's not turning it over. But he is throwing it short consistently. 66 attempts at 9 yards or less. He's not winning football. Predict it for me, Browns fans. Will Shedeur Sanders play this season? If you think he will, type Y for yes. If you don't think so, if you think based on what the Browns have been doing, based on their actions, it seems like they're going to roll with Gabriel the rest of the year, then type N for no. Let me know in that comment section. I think we will see him. I think we should see him. I'm just being honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into some more Browns news and Shedeur updates, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Football is in full swing now on Sundays. All is right with the world, and I'm big into daily fantasy with Prize Picks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining, and before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. You can also follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. You know I have another lineup for the week, folks. This time, Prize Picks gave us an awesome deal of Stephen Curry, more than half a point. He did that, and I have an emotional prize pick here. Quinshon Judkins, less than 72.5 rushing yards against the Patriots. Either I win money, or I'm hyped up about Quinshon Judkins getting rushing yards. And finally, Bijan Robinson, more than half a touchdown. We saw how bad that Dolphins defense was. Quinshon put a hat trick on him. I expect Bijan to score. Download the app today and use code CLNS To get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, that's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. ESPN Cleveland, Tony Rizzo specifically said, if I see that again from Dillon Gabriel, the play that we've seen every single week so far, said I would take the bye and I would use the 2 weeks to get Shedeur ready to start against the Jets. To be honest, folks, I thought that was going to be the plan. I thought after the first few starts that we saw from Dillon Gabriel, they weren't going to be anything special. They haven't been anything special. And so Cleveland would take the bye to get Shedeur ready and give him a start coming out of it against the New York Jets, a very winnable football game. If there's a game that can give you some confidence, that can get people hyped up, it would be that one for number 12. But like I said, remember, we also have the Titans and the Raiders on our schedule. There'll be plenty of games that Shedeur can go out there and dominate when he does make his first start. Based on what Stefanski's telling us today, the fact that Shedeur isn't getting reps with the ones, it seems like it will be later than that plan, later than week 10. Unless Gabriel plays just so unbearably bad this Sunday, well, then we're going to have a real conversation during the bye and probably start Shedeur instead. But that's the thing. Like, it's not like Gabriel's doing anything unfathomably wrong, right? He hasn't turned it over. It's just not a winning recipe. He's just playing super conservative, super safe, and we're still not moving the football down the field very well. So it's not like he's going out there and turning it over at the rate that Joe Flacco was, right, where you had no choice but to bench him, right? No, he's not doing anything unbelievably wrong, so I don't think this is going to be the case. I think it's probably a few weeks later in the season that we actually see Shedeur, but I do think that he'll give us a better chance when he finally gets out there. And this is the truth, Browns fans. This is what actually happened. The Browns picked Dillon Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders. This was a Stefanski decision. This was a Barry decision. The Browns made their assessment of talent, and they really thought that Dillon Gabriel was better than Shedeur. I disagree with it. You disagree with it. Browns fans all over the world disagree with it. People on social media disagree with the decision that Kevin Stefanski and the Browns front office made. But this is how they're going to run their offense. This is how they're going to make their decisions, is based on that fact to them that Gabriel's a better quarterback or more NFL ready than Shedeur Sanders. So all their decisions are coming with that. It's like a philosophical argument, right? If you think this is true, then this is how you should act. That's how the Browns are approaching this. They think Gabriel gives them a better chance, which I'm just mad about because I disagree with, and I'm tired of watching losing football. And the Cleveland Browns have a history of being wrong. Do they not? Have they ever been correct about a quarterback? Name a time. Literally only Baker Mayfield, and then they let him go. So, am I crazy for disagreeing with the Browns quarterback evaluation? I don't think so. I ask you one more time, Browns fans. Who do you think is better? Type DG if you think Dillon Gabriel is the better quarterback. Type SS if you think Shedeur Sanders. Let me know in that comment section below what your evaluation is, Browns fans. Is it similar to the Cleveland Browns, or do you have your own opinion like I do? Some positive news for the Cleveland Browns, at least, is that we've got Quinshon Judkins in town. Look at what Judkins tweeted out, just out of the blue, October 21st. He said, Cleveland, I love you. Judkins, we love you in Cleveland. He was asked about this and said, Cleveland is home. I played at Ohio State. Ohio is all I know, man. I want to die playing football here in Cleveland and give them everything I got. That's the kind of player I want in Cleveland, man. Judkins has been such a bright spot. Number 10's a stud. We love having him. He's balling, put up 3 touchdowns against the Dolphins. Show QJ some love and like this video right now to show some support for Quinshon Judkins, baby. He's in Cleveland, hopefully for a long, long time to come. I mean, he's literally our bright spot on offense, folks, with that hat trick of tutties. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of the Browns Report. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on X at Joey070. You're also going to want to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any Browns news, any Browns quarterback updates that we have for you. We're going to monitor this very closely, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're coming off the big win, so I'm still feeling hyped up about that. But we're not going to win games with that kind of offense every single week and barely over 100 yards passing. I'm telling it how it is. Hit that subscribe button if you want real Cleveland Browns news. I'll be here for you every single day, folks. And let's get back in the win column again this Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.